Sunday, happy Sunday. And to all of the fathers out there, happy Father's Day to you.
Give thanks.
Yes, indeed, indeed, indeed. This is a wonderful occasion when we get to come and spend some time out and just connect intentionally with spirit on this rising. I was given a new format, so to speak, in preparation for coming into service and what service would be like for me. What does that look like going forward? What Spirit has been telling me to go back to basics. So going back to the basics, I went into a whole altar. What does that look like even when I come in? I know water is a nice way to move through things on this realm and then get into the outer realm, and it has this nice cleansing purification to it. I have a candle that's lit, but doing the same thing, working from this realm to the outer realm, where water kind of goes from the root up, you know, fire kind of works from the outer realms back in to the connection and what we're doing here. Then you have my life form with the plants and everything. Just finding that balance in tranquil space. I put an unk on my altar. One of the pieces that I had commissioned Master Chef to do for me, and I gave him specific crystals that I wanted to use in there. The cellulite with this nice grounding properties. And I put clear quartz crystals in there, which is, crystal cleansing. Clear quartz just works with any and every environment in every space. It's a powerful tool, no matter where you are. So I use that, and then there's the copper of the that he's prepared that's giving a great grounding. So just today, just choosing to be really simple, but at the same time, in a space of peace and tranquility, even coming into the worship on Sunday, making that now more intense with the altar each week, so that what I'm teaching, I'm also embracing within the environment. So just welcome. And I'm inviting you to put together your altars and prepare your space when you go into connection with spirit so that your environment, just kind of reflects the mind state and where you are and what it is that you're looking to produce. Um, I'm going to go ahead and have Master Chef go ahead and do our opening with the prayer and the libation. Just as he gets it, the camera, he took the time to pan so you all can see the altar this morning. So as he's stabilizing it,
Uh-oh.
prepare for that stage.
That was a good idea at the time. It's still a good idea. So it was a good idea.
Wow.
All right. So as we sell into this good idea, which is the present, every time we sell into the present, what's going on right now is a good idea. Because all ideas happen in the present moment. Everything happens in the present moment. So with that, let's bring our attention, our awareness into centering ourselves to this present. As we take 3 invocation breaths. And we exhale out the air into our lungs. Begin by taking a deep breath in through the nose. Then releasing out through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose. Releasing out through the mouth. One more deep breath in through the nose. And gently releasing out through the mouth. As you settle into the nap, giving thanks for this moment, time, and place, and space. Coming together as one and one to experience one. As we give thanks to all forms of our higher self, this experience, source energy, Mother, Father, God, the Pulpit, the Gracious, Ifa, Ascended Masters, Angels, Archangels, deities, benevolent ancestors and spirit guides, all assisting us in this journey of wholeness, oneness, completion, being present right now. And for this, we give thanks and we say right on, Amen, Ashe, and Ashe on. And we also take this moment of supporting this wide open to give thanks to those that have gone before us in this dimension, those ancestors that have walked this earth, this 3D, and now have more insight how the body can assist us in a more expansive way. So we take the time now to honor you, give thanks for your work that you have done and are still doing. And we shall do this by calling out your name as we unite the heaven and earth in the form of the libation of water into the plant, to the flower, to the earth. We give thanks for your beingness and all that you do. Ache, Laura Hall,
Bishop Porter,
Ache,
Lloyd Porter,
Ache,
Cora Porter,
Ache,
Mary John,
Ache,
Rose Porter,
Ache, Ache, and all those named and unnamed again who are beneficial. We give thanks for your being, your presence, your assistance as we continue to work in this dimension. Ache, and Ache. Yep. All beings.
So as I mentioned today is about going back to basics. You know, what does your spiritual life look like for you today? You know, what are your practices? What are you doing to connect you to your higher self, to connect you to God, to put you in that space of manifesting the things that you have come here to manifest? You know, what does that look like? And in my journey, I know I was raised in Church of God in Christ. I also know that I left and went to a whole bunch of different churches that have different experiences because I didn't want my religious outlook to be solely based upon what I was raised in. Because what if there was something amiss? What if there was something left out? And in my quest to get closer to God, to have a better relationship with God, I just started going to random spaces of worship to see what there was like. I remember there was one space that I just couldn't even go into. I later learned that space they did satanic practices there, and so that wasn't an energy that my body, that my soul, that my being agreed with. So in trying to enter that space, I became ill, and I wasn't able to even go into the space. And so people choose what dimension, what area, how they want to be, and how they want to serve and worship. For me, that wasn't the balance for me. But what is the balance that you have found within yourself? And do you feel sometimes like you're doing a whole lot, but you're still not getting what you want out of the experience? You know, you feel like you've gone through all of the rituals and you've given all of the um, presentations to the altars to try to manifest what it is you're looking for. But do you find that even in all that you've done, that you still haven't gotten that thing that you're looking for? You haven't got that resolve that you want. You haven't manifested that thing that you want to manifest. You know, today I invite you just to go back to the basics. Go back to the simple prayer. Go back to the meditation. Go back to sitting quietly with your intentions and visualize it. What is it that you're trying to achieve? And what does that outcome look like? You know, put the details and the energies that you've been stressing about what could go wrong and everything that may possibly not be in alignment to what it is that you're trying to do. But put the details into those thoughts of what it looks like as you move through this situation and everything is going perfectly. You know, a chef has this saying where everything is perfect. if you embrace the idea that everything is perfect, you're already beginning with the end in mind. If your focus is on, well, this is wrong, that's wrong, I don't have this problem is taking place, I don't have the money for this, my body hurts here, I'm sick here. If those are your energies, if those are your thoughts, you create more of the same. You don't get that resolve you want because you can only get what you feed. If you're feeding fear, if you're feeding stress, if you're feeding poverty, if you're feeding hunger, if you're feeding lack, you're going to continue to get those things. But going back to basics, everything is perfect. I have a home that I am blessed to be in. I have food that I am graciously receiving as nourishment to the body. I have shelter when I need shelter. I have clothing for where I need clothing. I have shoes. All of the things that you have. I don't have shoes. I'm barefoot. Well, you got feet.
Hey,
You know? So you get to walk and move and have your feet. There's always a space to start with where you build from the ground up, in the basis of things. What is the basis for you? What's the basis for you, Asha?
child. Let me tell you. Hey, uh, this is right up my personality as your precious piece of talk basics because, well, we have a little time. As a chef Sue chimed in and says her person's on her way here, and Queen Mother chimed in and says that gratitude, peace, and love. And Ola Room chimed in and said that her person is on the way as well. So we have other participant members, loved ones, beings, divine beings on the way here. We shall use this time to share a little bit more about our story.
All right.
The mystery, my story. There's something to that. So, similar is precious food value. Similar, very similar. Early on, was raised Christian, uh, you know, Protestant, not necessarily Kojic, different denomination, but raised in Christianity. So what happened in 1993, 94, I was sometime being an adult, coming to DC, Washington, DC, highs and lows, as a person, somebody mentioned that whatever basics my person had, they didn't seem to be working all the way, highs, lows, ups, downs. And so that person said, what, let's get committed to God. Let's dedicate our life to become a man of God. Let's get out from this church thing, right? So we started reading the Bible every day. Read the Bible from beginning to end. So what happened? We got to the story like Enoch and Elijah, right? It was, closely around the same time. After that, it's like, wait a minute, we don't have to die. And so then it was the idea of not dying. And so being in the church and the people that my person was hanging around with, we were starting to talk this stuff. Like, man, we ain't got to die. Look at this. Look, we're doing greater things. Greater things can you do? We're God, man. We supposed to be, this is in traditional indoctrination of Christianity. So it didn't resonate with a lot of people. Of course, they were like, okay, it sounds good, but, we just confess with our mouth, believe with our heart. That's all we got to do. You're doing too much. No, it wasn't said like that, but that was the vibe.
Right.
They ain't doing too much. Come on, now. Christianity ain't that hard, So, and it was because of that, the lack of companionship on this journey of not dying. You see, lack of companionship, some fellowship. Let's walk, huh? Let's walk and agree. And the Bible says, "Let's two agree." How can you walk together? So my person's like, we can't find nobody to agree in this church about not dying. Well, let's go someplace else then. So we, Buddhism, Judaism, not so much Muslim, but a lot of the religions and spirituality, the concepts, and what a person settled with. Again, the debate was the Kemetic philosophy, and basically, most of people are familiar with the pyramids, the Greek pyramids, mainly the ones in Egypt. But they're all over the world, the moon, Mars, everywhere, all in the multiverse pyramids. However, for those just keeping it simple, for those pyramids that are in Kemet, ancient Kemet, Egypt, guys, view the pyramids. There are writings on the wall of the pyramids. Writings on the wall. Some call it hieroglyphs, hieroglyphics. They're images, but yeah, they tell a story. It's the written language of the ancients. And basically, it talks about how, yes, we are gods and we cannot, this particular not die. You kind of all the esoteric stuff is written on the wall. And so studying Kemet, my person said, this is what's happening. So basically taking that foundation from Kemet, ancient Kemet, and this the story of the human plight, which is similar to most religions, because some say that history even says that this is one of the first religions, which is religion in the simplest terms is a vehicle, if you will, that allows one to reconnect to reconnect to God. Religion is a path of the vehicle to. And most religions, have this basic foundation of immaculate conception, a savior, but at the same time, the savior, this immaculate conception, that's actually our story. And so this formed the basis of my person's basic lifestyle. You see, understanding the Kemetic philosophy. So in 2014, so it's been about 20 years, from like 94 to 2014. So it took about 20 years of gathering intel, information, chakras and meditation and yoga and forgiveness and all these things, on YouTube and Clubhouse and what people call New Age. Just really got off into it. The same when person started reading the Bible, it's like, wait a minute, we don't have to die. Let's do this. It's like, okay, well, what do we have to do to not die? And being raised traditional Christian, not knowing anything about meditation, crystals, yoga, plant-based, vegan, vegetarianism, none of that stuff was traditional. Grew up down south, omnivore, believed in Jesus, and looked at our place as a people as subservient because it's a white man's world.
Mm.
So all of that was my person's the portal that came through, the worldly portal. It was ingrained, programmed, which, the residue is still here, baby. Which is why the basic of the lifestyle is a basic lifestyle of detox. Because intellectually, my person knows that, well, wait a minute. Now it understands that we're connected to source of all the universe. We're connected right now. We're all connected because there's no gaps, there's no space. However, to the degree that we are open, or there's no resistance, there are no blockages within our bodies, right? That limits the amount we're able to perceive, receive, interact, connect, like feel the connection. Is to the degree that we will feel the connection. In other words, my personal basic lifestyle is one of detoxing from programming, detoxing from so-called racism, detoxing from so-called hate, feminism, masculinism, male patriarchy, all this stuff in society that have us thinking that, either one people or somebody is better than another person, this judgment on whatever the case may be, especially when I mentioned, now my person's perspective is everything is perfect. So basically, to remember my person's perspective, everything is perfect, right? And the beauty of this 3D earth, this third dimension, from we get from the yin yang, the light and the dark, is that everything is here. Heaven, earth, God and the devil is right here. More specifically, us, we are the God and the devil, which is why free will is important. Free will says you can either choose to be the God or you can choose to be the devil in this dimension. Now, the challenge with really going on now is insights because how it sees reality. That good and evil exist right here on earth. And this free will, we have the choice to choose whether we want to be, all the way good or all the way evil. Now, keep this in mind, in a sense, we have to have both, so we're not saying if you choose one, that's okay. It's okay to be evil. This is my person's perspective because evil is perfect. Evil has to be perfect for good to be perfect or for good to exist. And so without evil, there is no good, there is no life, there is no nothing. Hence the yin yang electricity. Simple concept, electricity, life, creation. With electricity, there's the masculine and the feminine, the positive and the negative, the good and the bad, whatever you want to call it, the hot and the cold, the water and the fire. If one is missing, any electrician, you don't even have to be an electrician. You can plug something in, and if it don't come on, it says it will come on. It starts flashing. Oh, there's a short in the cord. There's a short in it. If you have Christmas lights or something like that, there's a short. There's a short in it. That short means that there's not the balance of the masculine and the feminine, the light and the dark, the good and the evil. So again, my person's basic life is to detox from within this being any and everything that is providing resistance or blocking that perspective in every single experience. Every experience. To see the good and the bad, the light and the to see both sides, to see of every experience. And to be right there in the middle. And just observe the experience in peace. Which my person choose to engage in joy, or it can choose to engage how it wants to. But other than that, it's just really saying, oh, this is great. This is how it's happening. This is what creation is doing now. This is the manifestation. This is how the laws is manifesting. Whatever the case, whatever the talk is to self, it says this is perfect. It's supposed to be this way. Again, the basic lifestyle is given to this stuff. But my person actually calls this system. It's a system. It's very organized. The divine master, we like to organize, create stuff, structure. My person's structure system is called the breath of life training meditation initiation system, which we effectively call the BOLT, B-O-L-T, breath of life training. Officially began this in 2014. And so we're approaching 2024, 9 years, almost 10 years later. This is just a result of coming up through the programming, challenges in the world, realizing, hey, there's another way of being, and choosing that way. So we want to not die. In the church, God on the outside, praying to God, believing in Jesus, a whole nine. At that point, we say, wait a minute, we don't want to die. Okay, cool. Let's not die, God. Let's not die. Here's some almost 30 years later, have the system understanding how not to die. And just enjoy 3D for what it is, which is everything. My personal story, the mystery. This is the mystery.
Yes, there are quite a few comments I see on the screen. Anything you want to share out? Needs to share out?
Yes, and this is for Queen Mother. Yeshua, misnamed. Also, when the first name Yeshua, my person took it as her person, Queen Mother, talking to my person, saying, yes, you are. Yeshua, 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 Yeshua. So this is how my person think in real time. First thing is, Yeshua, misnamed. Oh, it's on the screen. Y'all see it. Yeshua, misnamed Jesus, told us something very profound. Yeshua, Yeshua, and Yeshua, 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 God. Yeshua, manifestation of the divine. Yeshua, everybody who's watching, Yeshua. Okay, got back to this. Excited. This is again real time how a person sees things. It's trained itself to always see things as like this. Yeshua, misnamed Jesus, told us something very profound. People were in awe of the things that Yeshua did, and he turned and said to them, greater works you should do. We're now in the awakening to the greater work, and my person and your divine assignment, or ushering in the greater works. And for this, there is gratitude that we were found worthy at such a time as this to be the vehicles to usher in the greater knowledge, the greater understanding, and the greater works. I.C.U. I.C.U. Yes. And again, this is just to add, because just reconnected with Queen Mother recently, maybe about a couple months ago. Give thanks to her chef suit. Her chef suit relocated West Virginia. Met Queen Mother. Now Queen Mother, we have this relationship now. Again, this was not found in church, even though we're talking about church. This is the beauty of it. We're talking about the Bible and scriptures, yet we see them differently. So this is one of the principles of maintaining your own faith, standing strong in your own conviction, your own belief. Because whatever you believe in to the core, and if you really believe it, and if you live your life in alignment with that, you're going to find people that are going to believe similar. You may have different lives, things like this. You may make, but the core of this belief, you're going to find it. Birds of a feather, you will find your tribe. Just hold earnestly to your belief. So I just want to add that caveat to, again, because life's about principles. And every opportunity the divine master see a principle at play, we may just want to slide it through that. Message. Be true to yourself.
Back to basics. And when you talk about lifestyle, sharing space with you and seeing your practice every day. He chooses to sleep on the floor opposed to in a bed or, the comforts that my person choose to sleep with. Doesn't make them any greater spiritually, doesn't make me any less spiritually, but intentionally, your lifestyle and what you practice produces whatever it is over time in your outcome. So when he's choosing to humble himself in that space, in that way, that's every day for him. That's not, oh, I just do this because somebody came over, What are your intentions in your daily practice? A spirit was just dealing with me over the past 3 strongs. And even looking at different ways that I have engaged with others in getting close to spirit. And one of the things I have done is different plants that have allowed me to do different journeys to go on this quest to spirit. And one day spirit was just cautioning me. It's like a cautionary tale. Plants are great, but sometimes we get so connected to devices, connected to tools to try to connect with God. We forget we are God and that we can just connect to our great God just by going into self, just by taking time to breathe, to pray, to meditate. It isn't a requirement to go and utilize an outside tool or plant to do what we are innately built to do. And when we get back to basics, it's sometimes letting go of those vices because for some of us, they become a vice. For some of us, it becomes the only way. I can't. Unless I do this, I can't. We have conditioned ourselves to depend upon something outside of ourselves to do that which we were innately designed to do anyway. We were innately designed to connect to God anyway. We were innately designed to perform the miracles of God anyway. But we have gotten so needy on other things outside of self. We've gotten so taught away from other things inside ourselves to rely on things outside of self that we don't have that basic foundation that we need to move in. Or I shouldn't say we have forgotten about that basic foundation.
Most of us.
And not moving in that space. A lot of folks.
Yeah, so we're getting that. Now we're getting up the correct speech.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of folks have gone into that space that we can't now just sit down and pray. We can't now just command things and expect the outcome of that which we commanded because we're so reliant upon outside things. Oh, I can't manifest this because I'm not the pastor. I can't manifest this because I'm not the high ranking elder. I can't manifest this because I haven't gone through so many rituals, whatever your reasons may be, that stop you from producing in the now, in today, in the way that you should be. It's time to get back to the basics. That it moves you back in that space where that's where you flow. That's how you operate.
Yes. Uh, in my personal life to add to that, a little tweaking, as again, this is how most people may operate.
Mm-hmm.
And preface this by saying, from my personal experience, since coming here to the Temple of Mother Earth,
Mm-hmm.
my person has found so many divine beings that are have their own boat, be able to the better term. They have their own system in place. You know, not to say that even, we're not all the way there yet, but we've reached a place where we are we feel good about the choices that we make being intentional. And so with that, we're suggesting that as we continue to improve, we are becoming the example for those people that are like that. Because there are a lot of people that are like that. And sometimes, in order to make it to shift, people um, it can find useful not just the tools of the plants or the crystals, but also the tool of company, camaraderie,
Mm-hmm.
fellowship. So what my person is suggesting, as we continue to speak about what's happening in society, we are reminded that we are it. I am it. Hence, the Indigenous Culture University. And those that come through the Temple of Mother Earth, again, the birds of a feather, we're holding space as we continue to be what we say, continue to do what we share, being the example of those who still maybe need a little bit because they still have more of the doubt. They still have more, a lot more. They still in the just being honest and transparent is not good or bad. Just speaking in the reality of how life works. There are some people who are further along on the journey and can assist others because being further along, they have passed certain so-called milestones. So so-called challenges, so-called instructions, so-called reminding, so-called bringing it back into alignment is different. It's not as painful. It's very gentle and subtle because of the milestone that they've reached on their journey. And with that in mind, as we continue to hold space, Soulful Sundays, um, the integration circles on moon days, the community days on Wednesdays. These are right now just a few regular scheduled um, gatherings at Temple of Mother Earth. And as the summer goes on and get more to the fall, there will be a lot more offerings that will be available for those who have at a place of sharing as in facilitators and offerings, as well as those who are just near the beginning, and feel the pressure energetically of the muck coming through this thick 3D reality. Gotta come on now, come on now. So again, just adding to it, this is correct. There's a lot of people that share the space of okay, not believing, not realizing we have the powers in, not understanding how we always connecting all the way all the time. Yet those of us who do have this awareness, who are doing this, again, those of us from Mother Earth is a great place to meet those individuals. So if you're in the area, come to them personally. Yeah, just wanted to add that caveat to assist with the um, one person says considers the reason being is more alignment with communication, more specific, more like this is really what's happening. Everybody's not doing this. Some folks are doing that. And so just speaking about their reality so that we're not necessarily saying, we all at this place right here. That's all. They don't matter. Just holding space for other people coming, just talking and sharing. See? And there's a door. You see how that works. Yeah, because it does make a difference. Mm. Everything is happening right now. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
What's up, man? Keep up on my way here.
Yes,
All right. We just take a little pause. You know, for integration time.
how you feel?
Mine and best. How's your person?
Good.
This
Both
is
of them.
good. Yeah.
Ooh, I can't wait to get over there.
I'm
Sorry.
sorry. Presents.
Oh,
I can't wait to be here.
oh, good. Good.
Oh. Sean, that's what my good breakfast is. That's what I like, Sean. Ooh, okay. Yeah, where I'm from.
Yeah. You didn't want to miss that.
Yeah.
Be present again for this one. So once again, in real time, this is one of the benefits of birds of a feather flocking together. Associating with those who really share your core beliefs. Because when you interact, it's this feeling. It's the agape love that is talked about, that is experienced to the nth degree. Nth degree. So again, we here at Temple of Mother Earth, those of us who also associate and resonate with I am it, the I am it philosophy. We encourage you to, again, wherever you are on your journey, to just hold that space and be more intentional with the tribe that you're with, in order as your tribe comes along through the law of attraction and or the law of correspondence. It's a beautiful thing, to vibe together, sing together. Because the ascension is not just one day poof, you're going, you're ascending. It is actually a daily thing. It's ascending, rising above those things that keep you down. Unless you want to be down, there's no ascension, just stay down. But if you're looking to rise above, that's it. So here we are.
We've been discussing just getting back to the basics and how, in a lot of times when you want to journey and you start trying a whole bunch of different things and reaching out for a lot of different experiences, it's like there's always that desire to get deeper or higher, grow more powerful and not really recognize the power of who we are in making. We may move away from the understanding of what it is that we already bring to the table in our search and quest to connect to that which we have forgotten. And so just being able to be in a space, now just go back to basics, just go back to the sitting and being quiet, go back to just meditating, go back to those days of prayer and expect and see those prayers come to fruition. Those go back to just calling things into existence, And today I'll have whatever and expect it and have it actually show up because in your space of going back to basics, that it's yours to have anyway. It's yours to create anyway. Are we moving in that space? What does going back to basics look like to you?
For me, it's going back to childhood. It's that I understand or I feel at least. I don't get answers until I know that deep from the beginning.
Uh-huh.
I have to try to remember that personality, that character, that little girl, what she was feeling, make her take back. And so once I get to that point and I'm able to see what's going on or whatever, and hopefully I'm being led and have that faith for people continue to go through.
Yeah, so we can be scary going through.
Mm-hmm.
We can see stuff and things coming up there. I know for me, during I had forgotten all about it. I was so surprised. You know, before she started to speak, before she said childhood, I was thinking going back to that structure. Like getting up, having my daily practice, put myself in a schedule. And when she said child, I was like, yeah, like when I was a child. You had to be the day that I had a bedtime. I had a time to be in the house. I had a time for snack. I had a time, like I came home from school. I sat at the table. I did my homework. I did not go outside to play until homework was done. There was a routine. I was in bed by 9. I woke up, the whole thing. So going back to that is what I felt came up when the person was asked.
I like that. The whole idea of childhood and childhood coming with a structure. Having a set list of criteria to elevate you and move you to where you want to be. Yes, it's like I think you're onto something with that whole piece of that structure because when we start dibbing and dabbing in so much, sometimes we become so far away from ourselves. You know, it's hard to recognize self because one might be too busy doing this person's practice, and one might be too busy doing that person's practice, and one may have embraced so much of this person's belief, we lost our root, we lost our foundation because we're so far out there. You ever had conversation with somebody and just don't know what that conversation was? And you may have invested some time with this person in a conversation. You walk away and be like, what the heck? What were they saying? What were they talking about? There's a disconnection in what's being fed, but you're still allowing things into your space. So sometimes we have allowed so much into our space. It has pulled us so far away from where it is that we're intentionally going. We aren't careful. We may be on someone else's agenda that has nothing to do with what it is that we want for ourselves. A chef wants to ascend and take his body with him, and that is his focus, to take his body with him. Well, Precious' focus is to be in here and today and to now and actively using our ability, to do those things which one called miracles, because I know innately these are things that we can do. These are things that we are capable of. These are things that we may actively be doing and just aren't aware that we are doing. You know, Going through cancer and having my ovaries removed and just growing them back. By the time I come into the next doctor's appointment where they're trying to check to see how things are going, and they look up, oh, you got ovaries again. You know, Things that we innately do, but don't think about that. It's like I survived ovarian cancer twice, breast cancer, stage 4, all of that has just gone through this body, but the body has just healed itself, replenished itself. I have a beautiful daughter, beautiful personality, very creative, but to know that I only carried her for 16 weeks, 4 months, where the doctors was telling me what she will never be able to do. She won't be able to walk. She won't be able to talk. She'll be a vegetable. She won't be able to reason. And here's a highly intelligent young lady that was able to go and study in the higher maths and science in school and able to flip and twist and work things out and reason. This beautiful spirit, has this great connection, get these insights from God, all of these things that she is, that I was told she would never be. you know. And then look at her today, walking, talking, being. You know, we don't know what we're capable of if we allow ourselves to be recreated and shut down by other people's thoughts, beliefs, and expectations. You know, and if we spend too much time and energy chasing after what we already have, we'll totally miss what we have because we don't go in and find it in ourselves. You know, we don't find that space, be at peace. What does going back to basics look like for you?
Well, I was listening. Peace and blessings to everyone. I was listening as I was coming. You talk about meditation, and I was sharing with my cousin. Um, I think I told you like my office is now my sanctuary, and I was in my office this week. I forget what day, and meditation music is always playing, and I said I'm just going to take my moment and just meditate. And the ancestors, I really went in and saw like hieroglyphics and just things I really couldn't make out, but they kept telling me to focus on this lotus plant, lotus flower, and these images started coming up, and what they were saying to me is the more you spend, because I can say that I kind of drifted away for a minute with them, and they were saying to me, they said, but the more that you stay with us, the more we're going to reveal to you. They were saying we're beginning to open a portal for you, but we need you to stay with us. And with this young sister here that talks about basic, definitely like going back to that, and we always talk about that inner child. But a lot of us don't really know how to embrace that inner child. And I just told one of my clients this week that she needs to not rediscover. I don't believe that she'll ever discover who she is. She's been entitled to everybody else, a mother, an employee, whatever. And she was in my office because she has an EEOC complaint going on right now. And I said to her, I said, until you discover, and that means going back to the basics, if you discover who you are, and that's not going to be something overnight. And it's so funny, your ancestors are like, you taking notes? So they do that to me all the time when I'm talking to my clients. Like, are you taking notes, Hashatsu? Like, I'm like, yeah, can y'all leave me alone right now? And I understand that. I remember back in the day when I was going to the Apostolic Church, and they talked about prostrating yourself before God. And they used to call them shut-ins.
Mhm.
You go in there with your pillow, but the goal is not to sleep. The goal is to just prostrate. And I remember those days, and it's so funny how those are coming back to everybody. Just because you're not in that building, you can still, you got enough room to just become naked. And that's a thing that we are really, when I say we, I'm talking our melanated people, to get to that point where we could just say, I'm stripping myself, this is who I am. All those titles that everybody else see, but right now, I need to be who I am. And if I don't know what that is, for you to tell me. When I say you, I'm talking to about the Most High and the ancestors. It's getting, like you said, getting back to that inner child, prostrating, listening. I heard you talk about being quiet, all those things.
That has been a big piece for me over the past few strong,
Mm-hmm.
being more quiet, having less conversation, just listening, tapping in. I had a friend that I was telling on the phone. I said, well, I'm not going to be having a conversation with you on the phone for a minute because I need to go into a quiet space. It's like if the conversations aren't feeding my spirit, I really don't need to be engaging in the conversation right now. just because of where I'm trying to be. And that's not to say that I'm not one for jokes and whatever, but maybe as I am moving in this process, what my jokes are shifts drastically. It's not maybe what my jokes are shifts drastically because it's like that's not funny. And how does that edify? And how does that lift up? So what has been just flipping conversations for me, I'm hearing those conversations, but I'm hearing in the spirit realm what that conversation was. And so we might be jokingly, oh, you tore up from the floor up. We just cursed. We just cursed whomever we were talking to about being tore up from the floor up. And then when that person is calling and sharing and talking about all of their woes and what they're going through, and when we come back with those responses, we're adding to what they're already dealing with. We're cursing more. And so to hear those flippant conversations play on the spirit realm, because the spirit doesn't understand joke. Spirit know what you said, I ain't never gonna have nothing. Oh, guess what? You keep producing lack. You keep heading short. Why? Because you spoke that. You embraced that. You gave it to spirit. Spirit's job is okay. As above, so below. Here we go. Now you're united with not having anything. What is it we want? Be specific to that and speak to that and embrace that and create that. And sometimes being quiet is the best place to hear all those things that you said. It's the best way to understand how did I get here? Be quiet. And it'll come. How do I move forward? Be quiet. And it'll come. I used to sleep in the theater when the big band's rehearsing and all of the noise is going on. I would get and go into the control booth and I would go underneath the lighting board and I would lay down and find quiet in this very loud space and go into a place of rest. Then come back and go back to work at the show because I began to realize this space that I'm in, this situation that I'm in cannot define what I need for me. I can go and take what I need, but that's true in every walk of life. Whatever your present situation is, isn't the ultimate definition of what you get out of life. What are you bringing to the present situation to flip it, to change it, to enhance it, or learn from it? In any space, why are you here? What can you glean from it? How do you flip this thing and move it towards where you need to be? But you could be held down by it, you could be held up, you could be stuck, or you could be propelled. It could be a stepping stone. It could just be that one thing that will elevate you above whatever it is that's holding you because your vision becomes different. There's power in quiet. There's power in quiet. When you're thinking and creating in your mind, that quiet time is a good time to feed yourself good thoughts. That quiet time is a good time to not then go, oh, what was me? Oh, I ain't got nobody to talk to. Oh, I ain't got no friends. But be like, I've been trying to split this atom.
Okay.
If I remove this one molecule right here and shift this element over here and then put this proton up here and twist these neutrons and oh man, I just created something altogether different because I was able to sit and acquire and do that.
Your person speaks as though I've done that before. From experience. Shit like that. Hey, watch this one. Smokestack.
create everything in everything. You've been quiet, Miss Malika. I'm gonna go ahead and just pick on you for a moment. Give us some of your pearls.
Oh, we were talking, we got
Huh?
you talking about the last question? But you didn't get to answer that one.
I said she hasn't shared today. So the question is, what does going back to basics look like to you? That was good, little girl.
Because I was thinking about how, like, a lot of people's answers is like connected. Also, to like what I was thinking about. If you, when we were talking about like the whole schedule and things like that, and I was like, oh yeah, well, I was thinking kind of like the same thing. But like, for me, it was more like I got up and I had the whole like fully taking a shower thing and was in a quiet and meditative type space while I was in there washing my hair and my body and what have you. Just thought about how like, first thing I did was I got up and I drank some water and it was just like, you know, you went through the whole detox thing from the house and about how like for me it was like a purification process and stuff like that. Like, what intentions am I setting going about just the little minute things in my day? So not just get up and do something just because I gotta go do it, but like do it with like the reasoning behind it, like what purpose is it serving? What do you what's it doing for you? And I feel like that is a big thing because we purpose is thing. So that is just what I'm doing now, just like either different things. What's sharing?
Okay, that's your.
Are there any other comments online?
Queen, Queen Mother just simply says, the greater work. Another, I'm gonna keep coming back to this tribe collective. Like we spoke about, as we all shared, it was a connecting thread. You know, a lot of times, most times, if not every time, in spaces like these, you know, that's what happened. Even in church, a lot of times in testimony time in church, there was a lot of kind of similar things, you know, because of the connection that we have. So it makes sense instead of like this, and we share about, you know, back to basics, being a child, you know, organization, you know, these things. They still, oh, me too, 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 me too. So that's that whole vibe, you know, going around. Like, oh man, yeah, that's good. So it's encouraging everyone again, you know, to be more intentional. If you have not found and connected with your tribe, your family, your group, you know, those that you know, that your family, your family, bottom line, your family, you know. And it could be biological too, you know, although just from personal experience and being around, a lot of times those of us that speak like this, a lot of times it is not the biological family, although it can be, so we still hold in space. You know, a lot of times we may be the example for the biological family, while at the same time breaking those generational curses. Because we're choosing to align ourselves with, you know, correct, more of a higher reality perspective. You know, 5D some they say, you know, more of a Christ conscious perspective. But others that intentionally want to do that, these conversations we find, oh, we resonate, oh yeah. And the biological sometimes may not be as resonating with these things. So
One other thing came up when we were speaking, our conversation from last strong. One of the basic things is spending time with your child, spending more time communicating, sharing energy, things of that sort. So I just want to add that, like, you know, that's important.
yeah.
Being in these spaces are important to me.
Another reason why it's important, find out from experience also. Because if you don't spend a lot of time with your tribe, your family, like your spiritual family, you're on this fast track, baby. So when you do come back, they're gonna be different. You're gonna be different. So it's still you have to kind of almost get familiar with each other again. Like, oh, okay, so this is what you're tweaking. This is what you're vibing at now. Because on this journey, baby, we moving. And if you're not connected on a regular basis, you're gonna be missing something. So, right. You know, so yeah, it's a fast track.
You know, and you gotta look at those people that show up from last week's news. You know, you don't have a new revelation because you're trying to give a revelation on that was last month.
Right.
and every time you see me, you bring in that revelation. But that revelation came and went. So
Right.
there's a disconnect now because I've gone to another space and you still looking for me right here.
Yeah.
And I'm somewhere else, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that connection piece is powerful. But then again, that again speaks to your own knowing self, you know, so that you're not created or pulled back when somebody else comes and speaks something to you because they had a message that was, you know, that message was applicable once upon a time, but it's not hitting today. It's not working for me right now. And so you're coming back with this old message and you're seeking some old energy. And I'm somewhere else, you know, but I can't allow you now because you spoke that to pull me back into that space. Go ahead.
And sometimes, like at the House of Ascension, University of Ascension, with the other sisters that's there, we were having a conversation last strong too, and a chef was telling my person, I forget what the conversation was exactly about, but he was telling me something. I was like, well, I don't subscribe to that. I don't believe, I don't feel that. I ain't signed up for that right now. Now, I ain't to say that tomorrow, the next moment, the next hour, it could be different. I could be subscribing to that then. I don't know. You know what I mean? So, not for me, it's not always old news. It might be news that I ain't even got to yet. Or it hasn't cycled back around for me yet.
Right.
Not to say that, you know, I may be responding the same way he was, you know, the same way he was describing in just a few more moments. I don't know.
Right.
So.
Right. But again, that self-connection, you know, what resonates, what works. Everybody's prescription doesn't work for everybody, you know. You might be able to use my prescription and it'll help you, but you might not get the full benefit of my prescription because my prescription was initially for me. You know, so this might help you along the way, but at the end of the day, you gotta get your own prescription. This might tie you over to get to your prescription. But at the end of the day, you gotta get your own prescription. You gotta have your own walk. You gotta have your own cocktail.
Yeah.
There it is, child.
And you have to also remember that we are wonderful and unique in our own way because we can get caught up even in spiritual. You know, I've been on this path since 2014, and there are times when you feel like, oh my God, I need to be more spiritual. There's no such thing as more spiritual. It's spiritual to you, you know. But I will be. I have to always credit a chef for this. Like years ago when I had my low valley, and he was like, you know, this is the time you could be talking to spirit. But like you were saying, I'm like, okay, I'm not ascribing to that because I was very tunnel in one thing that I wanted to get accomplished, like a revenge type thing. But then, you know, it took me a minute, and I said, you know what? So last fall, I wasn't in the same place. I put myself in that place. I walked on. I said, nope, you haven't. I said, Most High, this is not the assignment you have for me. And I walked away. And for 4 months, I remembered. I said, you know what? Yeah, this is a good time where I can sit here and talk to quiet and talk to spirit and other ancestors and say, okay, where's my next assignment? And where do you want me to be? And then they came back and said, well, where do you want to be? Like that. And so when I said, baby, you should drive this vehicle. I said, guess what? I don't want to be here no more. They said, fine, all right, when you leave, and like that. And it's just so, I remember that, I'm like, I remember him saying that, but you're seeing it one way, but look at the lesson, and while you are in that quiet space, while you're talking to the ancestors, the Most High, then your revelation, and I always knew I wasn't going to stay in DC. I knew it. I just didn't know when I was going. But they last fall. They was like, all right, when you going? We'll see you on them and at the mountain like that. We ain't going nowhere. And I was like, God, I remember that.
Look at you now.
At the mountain.
At the mountain.
And
Shit.
loving every bit of it.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. And, we're all on the same journey of going to our mountain, new to our mountain, whatever that looks like. Beautiful. Good, thanks for sharing. Mm-hmm. And what your person shared also about what came up with my person was the biological family, about how some people maybe see that same light, especially a lot of times, with the work that we're doing with our spiritual family, they still see it. Oh, remember you used to do this, you used to do that. It's still there. And so part of that for us is to understand that. It's understanding that, okay, you may not get it now, but we still can't hold it against you per se because we understand, So personally, for my person, that's allowed my person to embrace the biological family. Just reach out, just call more, just check in, even so much on Christmas, which haven't done it in years. On Christmas, hey, y'all celebrate this, so hey, enjoy your celebration. Merry Christmas to you. It didn't cost my person anything except it didn't cost anything that was painful. It just took the time to fortify the connection to biological family, which is the portal. And by fortifying that portal, by accepting them and understanding that as long as you may not understand what's going on, but we ain't got to talk about it. Like, taking the body and something that we ain't gonna mention nothing about that. But we just call and check on you because of that portal. We honor the portal, and that creates it reduces any blockages or resistance also from ascending because you're still connected to that biological portal, regardless of how they choose to be or where they are. You're saying we love you, we're just doing this, you do that, and hey, this what's happening. Hey, that's it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're not speaking to change because not speaking the ascension language, even though some of this part of my personal natural being, but it's still in everyday conversation. We just choose different words in everyday conversation. We're not looking to make it a specific effort that says, why did you bring that to yourself? Did you look at it, when's the last time you meditated? Nah, we ain't going there. We're going there. So, let's get thanks for everybody.
And sometimes people don't want answers anyway. They just want to vent.
They know they options, so they started talking to you.
Right. They just want to vent sometimes. And sometimes allowing that space lets them, like you said, come to the conclusion that they already knew the answer anyway. Sometimes you're running from the answer that you know. I know I'm supposed to do this, but this looks like this much work. And maybe I don't want to do this much work yet, but I know I'm supposed to do this work. And so we run from those answers. And then they get quiet, just kind of brings it to you in a more palatable way. Listen, you got to do this. Inevitably, this work is required of you. Take a breath. Go ahead, take a breath. Now go do what you're going to have to do anyway, because inevitably, it's coming. It's coming through you. So just be in that space.
I know my client Michelle, she's funny too. Like so how does this therapy work? And I looked at her and I said, it works if you allow it to work. I said, because you got to do the work. And she looked at me, I said, and she said, I'm here for you to fix me. I said, I said, well, I'm not a plumber, I'm not a repairman.
I said, no vibrational intention.
I said, and they see my office, like, so they kind of know. And she said, I said, I don't know about fixing. I said, I have heard of this word called healing. I said, if you're here to get healed, I can work with you. I said, but fixing it's to do the work, And she was like, okay, what do you mean you need to do? I said, it's not what I need you to do, it's what you already know to do. You need you to do. And she just looked at me and I said, so the hour is over. So I'm turning to see if she wants to get scheduled again. And so, because she seems very irritated. And that's okay, because in our journey, we've been irritated,
Wow.
So I said, would you like to come back? Well, I'm gonna need to see you at least once a week. How does 3 months, whatever? I said, I'm gonna put a time limit on, so I just, schedule. And she walked out and she's like, okay, I don't know who this woman is, but I let all my clients, I even told my supervisor, I said, I'm a different type of therapist. He's like, Jackie, do what you do. I said, really? Yeah, really want me? So I was like, okay. And I had the whole office at this point in there, like, numb your range or whatever, And it's just so funny because I said, wow, a year ago, I would have never known that would be where I am. That I had to do the work. And it's not easy. It's easy to say that. It is easy to say it. And there are times when you have told the ancestors, leave me the hell alone. I have said that. And they'll be like, yeah, right, okay, like, can I just go to sleep, But if you want to ascend, you gotta do the work.
Right. It's like, everybody wants the glory.
Yes, that's it. You gotta do it.
But there's some grit to glory.
Yes.
There's some grit to glory. There's something that needs to be done. It's like in computers, guy go garbage in, garbage out. What are you putting in to get out what you want? Because you can only manifest that which you have sown into. What did Precious Mother Love say?
Oh, one love, family. Thank you for sharing and letting us see the process of the science of self. Yeah, process of science of self.
Right. Any more thoughts between anybody have any ideas you want to share?
Well, just want to add this comment, share this publicly, but from time to time, they're saying once in a blue moon it comes back up, and it came back up today. There was this time we took a trip to the beach. Precious Mother Love, and she chimed in, was kind of recording, it shows the beach and everything, and remember, it was just 4 of us, that was in this room now. We went, and when Sister Shawn started speaking about that child life, that back to basically that child life. My person remembered back to after the beach, after we were coming back, her person asked my person, why is it walking that way? He was walking real. It didn't notice it until it looked down. It's like, it wasn't really a pigeon toe, but it was like it wasn't pigeon toe knocking, he sleuth with it, but it was kind of a combination of all that was rocking like an old man rocking back and forth, maybe even hunched over a little bit, because it was carrying stuff, from the beach and everything. And the other thing came to mind, we was, indulging. This portal was open. It feels good. and that was just so, it hit my person laughed so loud, it was echoing to the park, and some people said it's loud. And my person heard this loud echo. It was like, I couldn't stop though, because it just feels so good. And it took that as like, we don't care how we look, it feels good. A person inner child was just so like, This is it. This is it. Because of that beach, we had such a healing, bonding experience. Spirit was like, just do it because it feels good. Then it feels good like a little child. It just feels good. Like, look, won't you stop? You're going to get hurt. But it feels good. It feels good. It just, oh, it feels good. It just feels good. So, yeah. So, give thanks for bringing the child back to the beach. So, my person, it says a lot. You know, just what feels good. What feels. And I was like, remember, that's back to basics.
Your person was just laughing so hard. It was contagious because I was laughing. I didn't know what was going on in his mind when he was thinking, but like the laughter felt good, so you just want to do it, and it comes from the gut. That was a great experience. That really was. And it was funny. Like
You know what was funny? It was funny.
What was funny? But we had that going on. It had echo. You know, like you said, it was just wide open. It's like a forest. I mean, I don't know, somewhere we never been before, right?
Yeah, it's very enchanting.
Yeah.
It might have been Sherwood, but it was enchanting. Yeah, so that's definitely a keeper. You know, keep that experience again. That childlike thing, have fun. If it feels good, explore it to the fullest. Dive out there with the deep ears if you want to.
Especially when you of age, you have these back that far. You have to go through a lot of chapters.
Right.
And you can't go around it.
Right.
You're coming backwards.
Yeah.
So to get to the bottom, there's a lot of work going backwards.
Yeah.
And you really have to add up. But the beautiful thing is recognizing that little girl who she was. And if you could go back, that's the best thing. If I could go back.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
It is because what we do now, instead of going back, we bring her to where we are right now. Yeah. The integration. Yeah.
You take care of her with the wisdom and knowing that you have now. Yeah. It's like how you take care of kids. You know, you can do that for your own life, your own inner child.
And I love those assignments when they say, write to your younger self. I love doing that. It's like, wow, that's interesting. But I had this funny story when she's talking about inner child. So I took a trip back to where I grew up. And there's these adorable little girls that were playing outside. They were playing road. And I parked my car. And I said, they were actually in front of the apartment building I grew up at. And I said, how you all doing? And they're like, we're fine. Like, you know, you see that child like wow, we're doing that, right? And so I said, guess what? I used to live right there. They were like, right here? Like that. And I said, I did. And then and the little girl said, well, how long ago was that? And this is like a few years ago. I said, it's pretty long ago. And one of them said, and then the child like her, so you don't get offended. She goes, wow, you must be really old like that. And so she ran into the building and told her mother. And she said, she used to live here when she was our age. Isn't she old now, Mom? And Mom was like, you know, kind of, you know, I said, but it was just the child like, and I remember, right, and I remember my childhood there, running up and down the street, you know, playing with the boys. I was an extreme tomboy. You know, skin and knees and all of that, and just to watch them, I just stood there and I said, y'all don't mind if I just, you want to jump like that? But they weren't like big enough for me to like go and jump. But it was really, I was like, wow. Like you said, you're gonna have to go back but bring that child like to. Have y'all seen the double dutch women over 40?
Yes.
The 71-year-old. I was like, okay, you know what? Let me go get a robe. She was 71. And was in that robe a good amount of time. I said, I don't know where these women are.
They have chapters all over.
Okay. And I was just like.
They have one in DC?
Yeah, they have the DC one as well.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
Truth be told.
When you talking about childlike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to that.
And when Ashesi was sharing, when you were saying to bring the child here, but I felt it was necessary to also take myself there. Spirit had given me the assignment to do this inner child healing, starting with myself. And I was to start at the age of 6. Spirit further told me that on my daughter's 6th birthday, that I was supposed to walk the 6-year-old journey with her, and it would give me reminders, because my person memory is blocked because of the trauma, all the traumas that I've experienced. My memory is blocked from my childhood. I didn't remember, like I look at pictures, I'm like, I don't even remember that. Like, man, what the fuck? I don't remember nothing, right? So Spirit was like, okay, we're going to use Amaya to show you, to help you remember what things you like to play with. And so I get to heal my inner child through my child. And so they said, when she turns another year, you explore that year. So when she turns 7, I'm turning 7. You know, I'm healing the 7-year-old at that point. So so we don't turn 7 until September. So in this past year of the 6-year-old, I went to my elementary school. I had pictures of that for y'all. I went to my elementary school and I just sat there. I sat on the steps and I took in the energy of what was there, and Spirit began to show me some things that had happened that I did not remember. I could fit it resonated once the tape started to play, but I had no recollection of this prior to going. And so that's an example of maybe you do sometimes have to go to that place, because that did something for me. Before they sold my grandmother's house, I went through and videoed the whole house because there's so many memories there for me. And I knew I wouldn't be able to get back in the house in the way that it was that I would remember. So I videoed it. So I had that. And so the inner child, I've been hearing, myself on this. And I love it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. Well, talk about these jump ropes in the child. We're gonna make a mention that she gets these jump ropes here, tell them about the earth. Or if any of y'all get the urge to feel the need, my person has done hopscotch, jacks, we haven't done double dutch though. We done hopscotch and jacks. And, we done, yeah.
I feel like that's a good piece for Monday. That's what we could do Monday. I could bring some jacks. Let's do that on Monday. It's usually when the men and women come together and have our circles. And I think that Inner Child Day is a good thing.
Another thing that I
You may
do,
do it one Sunday there. Plan for it ahead of time.
can I suggest that we go to the playground on a Sunday? I know a beautiful playground. I took my kids there and I had so much. I got videos of that too. Had so much fun.
Is it swing set day?
And a monkey bar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's plan for it one
So
Sunday.
much. We like picnic afterwards or something. But yeah, I had so much fun, y'all.
Yeah. All right, we plan for an outing. We're gonna take the.
We did cartwheels.
Timber without walls.
Cartwheels.
Speaking of Timber Without Walls, Corliss chimed in also. Give thanks, Timber Without Walls. She just says, "Happy King's Day to all the kings and upcoming kings." Well, give thanks, Queen Corliss.
I was on some turning thing.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna schedule that. Mhm. All right.
So shall it be?
Indeed.
It's a big thing. I got big toys.
We're gonna hold space for somebody. We're gonna hold space for somebody to bring 2 jump ropes.
Yeah.
I can get y'all.
My person gonna learn double dutch.
No, they were West Virginia.
Never too old to learn double dutch. That's what we say.
And then when we went skating, I saw your inner child out there. That time that I couldn't skate, but you were Sheila. I seen like.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do our integration.
All right. So that's the first announcement. Do we have any other announcements? Announcement that we're planning an outing. So stay tuned for that.
All right.
We're taking the temple outside. Temple without walls. And also this evening, we may be able to If you talk really, really, really slow,
Mhm.
really, really slow, but not too slow, but slow enough to pull up this device. And if we want to pull up this information, because we are doing the gateway meditation this evening, and we're gonna just put this link up here because just in case somebody chime on here at some point in time. Where we go with this gateway link. Almost. We always jumped up. Okay, that's a message from King James about telling my Well. I think next time we're gonna have this thing queued up. We can have to go through this. But anyhow, Gateway is gonna be a virtual this evening. However, if you're in the area, if you're free on July the 3rd, we're gonna be actually here at Temple of Earth in person. So workshop. A little bit more information, a little more details on not just the gateway, but certain suggestions on how to maintain the gateway throughout. What's the whole idea? We use the gateway meditation as a way to assist us as a tool to get into the place of right there, gateway of consciousness, right before one goes into source energy where there are no things. It's unconscious. So before you go unconscious, you get the gateway right there before you go in. Some may call it the event horizon. That's a term generally used to signify with a black hole. There's a certain point where light, before light is sucked in, like light is right there in the black hole. So the event horizon, we're like the light at the edge of the black hole with it before going in. So that's the gateway scenario. So the gateway meditation is a tool to get us there. And this workshop on the 3rd is simply suggesting how we can maintain that throughout. All right. I share to the king. Good thanks. All right. And with that, it is now the inspiration time. Inspiration of the nation. As we have done our communing, it is now time to give thanks. So again, as we give thanks for our time of communion together in all dimensions, this is our time of integrating all that is shared, said and unsaid, out loud and inside our thoughts, everything that has been said in this moment of time and place during this portal. We integrate for our benefit, for our growth, for our ascension process, whatever that may be, whatever it looks like. So that was to say right on. Amen and Ache.
Amen.
Close out with the drum call again, drum circle, and then we're gonna close the portal. once again, we're going to give thanks for this moment in time and place and space. Thanks to all the assistance from our higher selves, all forms, source energy, Motherfucker God, Uncle Ruby, Alicia Ifa, Trinity Masters, angels, archangels, deities, and benevolent ancestors. Until we call upon you again in such a way we bid you adieu. Right on, amen, Shay, and good day. Hotel. Yes. And also to your person, mother love, and your grandson. Blessings to all, and to all a good day. Until next strong. And anywhere in between the strong. One dimension or another. Catch ya.